It's my honor to introduce Mayor Tom Leppert. Let me read you a little bit about Tom. Tom Leppert is a conservative Texas Republican running for U.S. Senate. He is a real-life job creator and a leader who makes the tough calls. He has proven determination in both public and private sectors. He is committed to go to Washington with that same resolve. He was elected mayor of Dallas in June of 2007, and Tom has led the city to become a focal point in the nation in the areas of economic development, education, and public safety. As mayor, Tom employed business principles and common sense conservative judgment to cut spending and bureaucracy. Raised by a single mother, Tom worked his way through college, earning a degree from Claremont McKenna College and has an MBA from Harvard Business School. He later served under Ronald Reagan as a White House Fellow in both the Treasury Department and the White House. And special to my heart today, he flew all the way from Dallas just to be at our event, and I think that's really outstanding. So would you join me in welcoming Tom Leppert?
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be with you. These campaigns can indeed be marathons. I'm very blessed to have some of the most conservative pastors in the state, people like David Dykes out of Tyler and people like Robert Jeffers that you're familiar with, that have endorsed me, and I very much appreciate their support. You know, 5 years ago, I would have never ever thought that I was going to be in elected office. I was a conservative business person. I had some people in our community that had approached me and had urged me to run for mayor of the city of Dallas. And my wife and I had prayed and discussed about this. And at one point, she had the idea that I should go talk to our pastor, a gentleman by the name of Jim Dennison. So I went over and sat down with him in his living room, and I mentioned to him that people had suggested that I run for mayor. He got up and walked out of the room. I thought, now this isn't going too well so far. But he came back. And he came back with a couple of pages in his hand. And he had been working on his message for the upcoming Sunday. And had been on service. But in the margin just before I got there, he had written, more Christians need to seek public service. Now, I was raised in the Protestant church. But it wasn't until I was in my late teens that my cousin Jerry, forced me to focus on a decision for the Lord. And through Jerry, I understood that Christianity is not a mere religion, but its core. It is a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Accepting Him as a personal Savior. And understanding that His blood is the bridge between all of us as fallen and a pure God. And that's what is so important when we talk about faith and its relationship. I've always been very open with my faith, both as a business leader and as a governmental official. But I will tell you, when I was elected mayor of Dallas, and somebody that had not been in politics, I was taken back by a question that I continually got. The question was, how can you deal with being a strong Christian and at the same time holding public office? Now, that question astonished me for two reasons. First, it assumes that what we do is who we are. That's not the situation at all. We're children of God. Now, what we do may be janitors or business leaders, and I've done both of those. Maybe doctors, maybe governmental leaders. But we're children of God. And at the core is our faith and belief in Jesus. That is what my life revolves around. That has directed my decisions professionally and personally all through my life since I accepted Him as my Savior. I can tell you, as mayor, I reached out to a lot of different people. I accomplished and did what I needed to do. But I never compromised my principles. And I was criticized often for that. I took strong pro-life stances. In the Dallas Morning News, criticize me for taking those. But I'll tell you, that's criticism that I'm happy to take. The second reason I was astonished, though, was that question, if you think about it, assumes that there's a separation between our faith and between our nation and its institutions. That there's a bifurcation. That as some people would have us believe in the secular community, that faith has no role in our institutions. And that's absolutely wrong. The reality of it is we are inextricably linked, our faith, our nation, and our institutions. You know, America is an exceptional nation, but we're losing sight of the reason for that exceptionalism. You know, we're the only country in history that was ever founded on an idea, on a creed. All the other countries, if you think about it, and great empires were either based on the concept of land as an empire or an emperor. But we weren't. We were founded on a creed. That creed was equality. Declaration of Independence. Our rights and liberties come from God, our Creator, not from men and not from governments. And then that equality leads to democracy. The idea that we collectively are more important than governments and rulers. But our founding fathers understood that it doesn't stop there. You can't have a democracy unless you have morality. And you can't have morality without God. Now, there's a lot of people out there that would love us to think that that part of the Constitution that says separation of church and state, or that freedom from religion, well, all of you know, the Constitution doesn't say anything about separation of church and state. And it's not freedom from religion, it's freedom of religion. Our country today is under attack. Our very liberties and freedoms. And that's a wide-scale attack. We see it on the economic front. We see it with governments telling companies and individuals where they can do business and where they can't. Our families are under attack through tax policies and welfare policies that diminish the importance of the family. But I can tell you the biggest challenge, though, is the attack on our religious freedoms and our religious liberties. And the examples are all around us. A president, a Congress, that believe their definition of governmental policies is more important than the liberties that we have from a Declaration of Independence to the Constitution. Just look around in the last couple of months. A government telling us, and telling businesses, that regardless of your religious beliefs, you have to provide contraception, sterilization, even though it's against their religious beliefs. That's unacceptable. But go back even a little bit further. An administration that advocated what they call a ministerial exception. The idea that religious organizations can no longer use religious beliefs or religious doctrines as part of their hiring process. The religious organization may very well have to hire an atheist. That's unacceptable. We are all, as a nation, on a very slippery slope. One that, in a very short period of time, we may lose the nation today that we take pride in, that we recognize, that we show to the world as a shining star of what liberties and freedoms are all about. Our faith and our religious liberties are at the core of not only who we are as a people, but also who we are as a nation. And just as important as that, when a government, a president, or a Congress starts taking those individual liberties and freedoms away, we need to remember it's a zero-sum game. Those aren't replaced. Those aren't compensated for. And we don't just lose an individual liberty, we lose the underpinnings of our nation. Without faith, we lose the moral nourishment that makes America exceptional. We must never, never lose sight of that. And indeed, that's what our calling is today. God bless each one of you, and God bless our country. Thank you very much for having me.